I Lay Down My Life For You is the 5th solo album from JPEGMAFIA. Though he has previously implemented rock elements into his tracks, on this record he really leans into this rap rock feel. Many tracks have these abrasive guitar sections that are easily the highlight of an all-around phenomenal album. My favorite example of this is Vulgar Display of Power, which builds tension with this crazy guitar before bringing these pounding drums that lead to such an invigorating track that I really anticipate seeing live. I've seen JPEGMAFIA live twice now, and I'm seeing him again in September, and he's probably my favorite live performer of all time. At least, my favorite rapper to see live. Obviously, I also listen to his music tons. I have over 2,000 streams, and I've been listening to him for like 2 years now, 3 maybe. And he's also, I think, the first like proper experimental artist I've gotten into, and it kind of like put me in this whole world of music that I was not familiar with before. But in recent times, I found myself kind of drifting away from his music. Like, he used to be one of my favorite rappers, and then I just kind of like started losing interest, and I wasn't really putting on his music anymore. But once he released I Lay Down My Life For You, I was instantly reminded of why Peggy is one of my favorite artists of all time. These invigorating beats you won't hear anywhere else. This vivid signature sound that I haven't found anyone who can replicate. So many memorable bars, and just the smoothest flows. He does everything exceptionally, so consistently. Just look at this discography. Since 2018, he's put out Veteran, All My Heroes Are Cornballs, EP 1 and 2, LP, Scaring the Hose, and this year I Lay Down My Life For You. It's unbelievable how there's like basically no bad tracks in this entire run of 5 or so albums and the EPs and whatever. And it's just such a fascinating run of albums that I just adore so much. Easily one of the best discographies in modern rap music. When the debut single for this record, Don't Rely on Other Men, dropped, I was a little worried as I found it very underwhelming. But Sin Miedo, the second single for the album, swept away any worries that this was going to be Peggy's first flop in a while. It's just such an insane track. The way it starts out with this like kind of annoying vocal sample that just like it's the only thing that plays, it's just very bare bones. It just makes the hook hit so much harder because it just kind of like makes you hungry for more really at the beginning of the song, if you know what I mean. Also, that guitar riff about halfway through the song is absolutely hypnotic. It's just amazing how smoothly Peggy's able to implement these rock elements into like a hip-hop song. There are a million elements at play on this song, and it feels like they all fit into place perfectly. It's also precise. This leads the song and this album in general to have an extremely lush sound that keeps you hooked listening to the record over and over again. Though so far I've pretty much exclusively focused on extremely high energy moments on the album, there are also a lot of great soft and occasionally vulnerable moments, like the closing track to the album, I Recovered From This. Here Peggy recalls his past relationships. He explains while he doesn't feel like anyone has been there for him, he's never there for anyone else either. His heart is really poured out on the first and only verse of this track.
Look, my bitch never got taken from me, I lost her myself. My bitch never got comfort from me, I needed too much help. I can't do 1 hour a week, I think I need more help. I don't think I need no more fixing, I'll just heal myself.
Another softer track I really adore from this album is either On or Off the Drugs. This beat that samples an AI-generated blues song is a really simple chopped up beat, but it's just so effective. I can really appreciate this simplicity as it gives adequate breathing room between super intense tracks. Like this track comes right off the high of JPEG Ultra. This balance of softer tracks with really hard tracks lead to the hard tracks hitting even harder and a less exhausting listen. Is what I found is that albums that hit you with non-stop bangers for like onwards of 30 minutes just can be very exhausting, and I like really don't want to have them on loop all the time because I just kind of get tired of it. But since JPEG adds these softer tracks throughout, I feel like it really allows me to loop this record for hours on end because there's this nice like consistent balance throughout the whole record. Though sparse, the features on this are great. Vince and Denzel Curry both work great with Peggy and his beats. Especially Vince on New Black History. That is one of the most unconventional and awkward beats I've heard in a while, but it sounds like it was made for Vince. He absolutely kills the track. The future vocal sample as a chorus is also a really fascinating choice that works unbelievably well. I can't even imagine how someone thinks to implement that. It makes me think that the beat was maybe built around the vocal sample, but either way, it's just really impressive to be able to like put such an odd vocal sample into a beat and just make it like, I don't know, it's really infectious to me, and I just so fascinating. I don't know, it's cool. Then there's Denzel, who has already done the Bald remix with Peggy, which is probably my favorite Zell performance of all time, and in my opinion, miles better than the original Bald. And I love the original Bald, so that's saying a lot. So I knew hearing Denzel on a JPEG track was going to be absolutely insane. Denzel Curry comes right out the gates with the craziest energy I've heard from him in a long time. And that's saying a lot because his recent output has been amazing. His flow is absolutely hypnotic. It sounds like it's all just spilling out so naturally. That's also what I love about his Bald remix performance. He just keeps going bar after bar, so many memorable lines, and it just feels like he could go on for hours. It just seems so effortless, and his performance is just relentless, and it just blows me away every time. The final piece I want to talk about from this album is ironically the opening track. I scream this in the mirror before I interact with anyone. For some reason I hadn't gotten to it earlier in the review, but it's one of the highest points on the album, starting with the lone vocals, soon bringing in these spurts of energy with dynamic drums, until the track explodes into an orchestrated mess of guitar, drums, and a great flow from Peggy. Then this track goes through a vivid rising and falling energy that interestingly mimics what's seen in the track list, with this aforementioned balance of super high energy tracks with softer songs. I Lay Down My Life For You is a fantastic reminder of why I love JPEGMAFIA's music so much. I'm unbelievably excited to hear some of these songs live, especially Sin Miedo and Vulgar Display of Power. Peggy's work ethic is insane. To create these phenomenal projects year after year and continuously exceed expectations is something you do not see very often.